with Angela Yee. I'm here with DJ Louis V.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. You know, I'm new to this. I'm running the boards here in Atlanta. All right, well, let's get into this Yee tea, and let's talk about Joy Reid. Unfortunately, MSNBC let her go, and there's been a lot of shakeups happening after the election. And I will say that a lot of people stop watching the news after an election. They get exhausted. There's so much going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also think with this new president back again, he's going to limit access to certain people who he doesn't like.
Right.
And so I'm sure all of those things play a role. Well, Joy Reid on her final show discussed, and this was yesterday, the importance of resistance.
When you are in the midst of a crisis, and specifically a crisis of democracy, how do you resist? America hasn't always been a free country for everyone, and we've had resistance movements from day one. And that is history's most important lesson, right? That the most important thing, the first rule, is to fight back, to never stop resisting, even if it's scary or uncomfortable or inconvenient. Just keep saying no.
All right. And she was the person that definitely made even the people who they interview a lot more diverse than everything else you see.
So do you feel like she was just targeted?
I feel like a few people there were targeted, and I want to say Rashida Jones, who was formerly the president, she's gone too, but she left earlier, and there's a new president, and so I do feel like it's a reflection of the White House.
1,000%.
You know, what's going on right now. Now, one person who had some things to say, and she's a star at MSNBC, she had the courage to speak out. Here's Rachel Maddow.
Joy Reid's show, The Readout, ended tonight. And that is very, very, very hard to take. In all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door.
All right. Now, Rachel Maddow also talked about Alex Wagner, who anchors another nightly spot, also saw her show canceled, but she is still going to remain with the network as a senior political analyst, unlike Joy Reid, who is out the door. So Rachel Maddow talked about what she thinks is potentially racial bias. She said it was unnerving that the network was removing both of their non-white primetime hosts.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think it'd be hard for her to bounce back or another?
I think somebody else would definitely.
Yeah.
But I also understand the importance of people like Roland Martin having a platform where nobody can take that from him.
1,000%.
You know, but I do feel like it's important to be in these spaces where people are watching these mainstream news outlets to have representation because, you know, there's no pushback then. Now, Don Lemon actually defended Joy Reid because, of course, Megyn Kelly went on social media gloating about this and said, remember when Joy Reid laughingly mocked white women tears as pathetic and offensive to her? Who is crying now, Joy? Good riddance to the absolute worst person on television, and shame on NBC for letting it go on this long. Well, here's what Don Lemon had to say.
So let me just say to Megyn Kelly, in my 30-some years as a journalist and my 50-some years as a person of color, go yourself. She's racist.
Listen, nobody can tell me that Megyn Kelly's not racist.
And he got straight to the point. I mean, you know, he's not gonna hold it. He's not gonna hold back for nobody.
And he don't have nobody that he has to answer to.
Exactly.
Right? And that's what happens when you don't have to answer to anybody.
Right.
Great statement to make. And I think it's awful. I see all of these MAGA people like rejoicing in Joy Reid getting fired. All right. Well, I also see a lot of people who got fired that voted for Donald Trump. They can't believe now they don't have a job anymore working for government.
It's sad.
But anyway, that is your Yee tea. When we come back, we have Under the Radar, the stories that are not necessarily in the headlines. They're flying under the radar. And speaking of flying, Louis V, I saw you looking at something today. We'll talk about it. It's way up.